What is going on, you guys? It is for Maz in the building. No longer pancake abortion. It is for Maz. I decided to change my name since it was not very appropriate, and for Maz sounds a little bit cooler. Um, so I'm back. I'm better. Found out that after you graduate out of high school, there's really nothing to do in life, and life is absolute garbage. So I decided to come back where to something that I knew was fun and something that I feel like I could make something, make something with it. Um, so for those of you who don't know, Borderlands is my favorite franchise of all time. All right, I played Borderlands 1 a little bit, played Borderlands 2 too much that I eventually ended up there wasn't anything I couldn't do. And so it's been like what 6 years since the game came out. Borderlands 2 came out, and it's been a ride. There's definitely so much stuff that we're still learning, so much stuff that you can still do. You can always go back and play it. There's all these weapons you still have to collect. So I was wanting to make a compiled video of all the knowledge that we learned so far from the team of developers and the community has learned so far, so that way I could explain everything so far, what we know, and moving forward. So let's just jump right into it. So September 13th is the drop date that they've announced, which seems like a pretty solid date ever since they started working on it, which should have been eons ago. So I wouldn't see a delay being a thing. We do have the gameplay release coming out, which they're going to show everything we've heard, they've talked about, but actually get to physically see everything we want to see, which is May 1st. If you guys don't know, we got possible crossplay. Randy Pitchford was talking about having the interest in possible crossplay, which to me sounds very interesting. But I'm hoping that with the modding community being so huge on PC, that there won't be an issue with that being ported over here on consoles that was a big problem to an extent at the very late game. So I'm hoping that kind of there's a little bit of a balance to it. Still, we got 4-player co-op, which to me, which is we're not losing anything. I was hoping that we could possibly have more players come join us. I was hoping that we'd have some big raid bosses to the point that we'd require like 4 to 6 or 4 to 8, and there'd be like a team collective raid boss, kind of like Destiny did for a while. And another cool thing is they were talking about no more competing for loot. So as we all know, in Borderlands 2, uh, you could fight a boss, and then if he drops, say, the sham, you go get the sham, your friend can't pick it up. So now in Borderlands 3, it's going to drop for everyone. So say if well, not for everyone. So if the sham drops for me and the sham doesn't drop for you, it might drop for him. But if I pick it up, it's not going to mess him up over there. It's not going to mess you up over there. The loot is going to be different for everyone. But if I get the sham and he gets the sham, it's for whatever reason it's in the same spot, it's not going to affect who has it. We're not going to have to duplicate, or we're not going to have to glitch it out to the point that we can both have it. So like in all Borderlands, we got to have new characters, but these characters specifically, they're a lot different than what we've ever experienced before. We got Maz the Gunner, Zane the Hitman, Amara the Siren, and Flack the Beastmaster. And all of them have unique abilities that we haven't seen before. I mean, we've always had, Berserker, we've always had the Assassin, and these all seem like they just turn the abilities and turn everything we know about the characters in Borderlands just right around. Specifically with Maz. Maz is like this big old heavy duty gunner that's gonna have. She has this Iron Bear, or the mech that she calls Iron Bear, that she assembles, which shoots rockets, shoot all these different types of artillery that kind of compare to something like the Gunzerker that just annihilates things. It rains down fire. So what's real interesting about Maz is she in the trailer she has different abilities. You see her shooting rockets. You see her shooting different types of ammunition. So it kind of goes to show that each character is going to have different abilities. They're not just going to be locked down to one ability like we've seen in the past games where you just click the ability and then you're stuck using that ability for a while. And so now it seems like you have multiple abilities, multiple skills trees, so that way you're not just stuck playing one role. So another character, the Amara the Siren, which is our new Siren, who is super yoked. Um, she seems real melee focused. So she's got the phase lock, which grabs people, the ground pound, which is kind of like the Titan from Destiny, which was really cool. And then we have projection, which you can kind of see in the trailer. It's really hard to see, but that just goes back to what I was saying. We're gonna have different, not just one ability. It's gonna be multiple abilities that hopefully we're able to play with. We're not going to have to be stuck using one and then we have to go back and select the other one. That we're able to just transition naturally in multiples. You know, be able to use them however we want instead of having, hey, we're going to go click the phase lock ability and then we're going to go play the ground pound. That hopefully we're able to use all of them simultaneously. Something that's really cool to me too is Flak, which is our Beastmaster that I was talking about. He has different types of animals that gets featured. We got the skag, the freaking spider ants, the flax has been even, or the flax or flak that's been featured in the trailer as well. It's really hard to see. They even got the freaking raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, he seems like he's able to have any type of animal. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work. If we're just able to switch at any times, if he is he going to be able to hold multiple animals that or creatures at once? Are the elements going to change? How's that going to work? I know the skag they were talking about being an elemental change. So hopefully that, in a sense, is flexible. We don't have to see a whole lot of, like I was saying earlier, we had to go select this character and then we'll go ahead and change the ability out here, and then in this mission we'll change the ability out. Hopefully it's just simultaneous. Now for Zane we don't know a whole lot about. We just kind of know he's just kind of hitman who used to do bounties and all that good jazz. We only see him do about two abilities, which was the double, which was kind of like his clone or whatever, and then we saw the drone as well, which I don't know how his abilities are gonna, be structured in the game. He seems real interesting, but we don't get a whole lot of information on him. So let's talk about the new bad guys that we're going to be seeing in the game. So there's a lot of new things that are coming in terms of enemies that we're going to be fighting. As we know, we're going to be going to different planets, different moons, different areas. So we're going to see a whole lot of new creatures, a whole lot of new bad guys, a whole evolved, in a sense, people we've been fighting our entire lives, but it's going to feel different because it's been evolved. Something that's real interesting, it seems like the bandit faction has either, been evolved into the Children of the Vault, or the bandit faction completely has been erased, because we've noticed that in the announcement trailer, the bandit drops his mask and he's walking into one of the centers for the Children of the Vault, and then on the website for the brand loyalty, we've also noticed that the bandits aren't on there. It's the Children of the Vault weapons. So obviously there's been either a step up in evolution, or they're just getting rid of the faction completely. So as we know, Tyreen and Troy are the new bad guys that we're going to be facing. They're the ones that also control Children of the Vault. So I'm curious to see how they tell us or express to us how all this started. But as we've noticed, Troy is kind of like the brother. We don't know what their ages are, if there's a difference in age. But Troy is definitely kind of like the main guy who's going to be doing some damage. As we've noticed, he's got his prosthetic right arm that's robotic, and it seems like everyone's talking about that he sustains his powers off of Tyreen, for the simple fact that we've noticed that when Tyreen takes off, or takes Lilith's powers, she gives them over to Troy, which is real interesting. So everyone's talking about how he sustains off of her, which is a real interesting concept, which I would like to see how that's going to work and how that would be effective if they got separated, and how buffed up he can possibly get. So as we all know, guns in Borderlands is one of the most amazing part of grinding in the game. There's just some type of satisfaction of finding the exact one you want, the exact piece you want. But as they've announced, there's going to be over 1 billion guns. Something else they were talking about is how in the last game they had about like 700 different sound effects for these weapons in the entire game in Borderlands 2, and now in Borderlands 3 they have over 7,000 so far. So it's real interesting what type of combinations we're going to have, if they're going to be able to you know mix these type of varieties and variants. But I want to go over the gun section a little bit different because we also got to on the website they have brand loyalties, and I wanted to go over that in a separate video because it's a real picky topic because there's a whole lot to go over. We do get to see that slag is getting removed. Randy on Twitter talked about it, how they wanted to incorporate something. Everyone's talking about a new element coming in that they've kind of shown in the trailer, but haven't really, taken a whole look at it. Everyone's saying it's going to be radiation. Who knows? Whatever it is, hopefully, it's going to be something comparable to slag. Because I mean, as we all know, Gunzerker with an Uncom Herald and a Grog nozzle was like the ultimate combination. So I'm hoping to see what they do with the game. I'm hoping to see how they incorporate all these things and how long the game's going to be. Because Borderlands 2 was a pretty long game, but there was a whole lot that could have been added on that we could have talked about. So I'm hoping to see how long this game is going to be because everyone's talking about being a longer end game. I mean, even Randy Pitchford on Twitter was talking about this game is going to be super huge. There's going to be a whole lot to do. So I'm hoping in terms of main story quests, there's a whole lot to do. There's a lot that's been talked about. There's a whole lot of theories too, especially like the Honor the Father that we get to see on the banner. Who is Honor the Father? Who is the Father? There's a whole lot of Morse codes that they added on the new picture that they uploaded of the how the game's gonna look. There's just a lot of things that they put out there that it's real interesting to see what they're talking about and what they're doing with it, if they're going to keep dropping more hints. I mean, if people are talking about more gameplay or games coming to Borderlands 2, more like DLC and more content. So hopefully we're able to see a whole lot more be introduced. Like we have May 1st coming up, and that's when we get to see kind of everything we've heard about. So hopefully everything is amazing, just like we're all just waiting to hope for, and hopefully it's not going to be a flop. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed everything you heard. If there was something I left out, please let me know. I know I didn't really get to go over the whole thing. I'm pretty sure there's a couple things that I'm missing out there, but if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and please let me know. So you guys have a good one.